Okay, let us sort out our squat. So a squat is generally a movement where you come down like this, but it's one of those ones that seems so simple, but there are ways to do it better, and I want to show you those. So we are going to first of all just start with the feet and where they should be. Everyone is slightly different, but I would say you want to start with your feet just slightly wider than hip width apart, and for me I like to have them slightly turned out because that generally feels right for me. Some people will say turn those toes forwards, and if that works for you, then great, but try things out and see what works best for you. So the first thing is that kind of foot position, because a foot position generally dictates what happens with the knees, because what we want our knees to do is to track over the same direction as the feet. So if my feet are facing forward, then you can expect my knees to track forwards. If they're out to the side, you can expect my knees to track out to the side. What we want to do is to avoid our feet pointing one way and our knees bending or twisting the other way. So keep an eye out for that. Right, so we've got our sort of foot position in a place that kind of feels a bit comfortable for us. Next, we're going to get our bum down. So with this one, you kind of want to push that bum backwards. Look at these knees. These knees aren't really going too far forwards. And imagine you're going to go and sit down on the loo, but you're not too sure where it is, right? So you kind of want to come down nice and slow. You're maybe going for a wee in the dark. So you want to come down nice and slow. And when we look at the depth of this, we kind of want to get those thighs parallel to the ground. As you can see, these knees haven't gone too far forwards. You're going to breathe out, squeeze through those glutes and stand up again. Now, one thing that you might notice when you see people do this is that they'll come all the way down, they'll come up and they'll push those hips forwards. Avoid pushing those hips forward. There's no need to do that. So you're going to come down, you're going to drive through those heels, you're going to stand up, feel like you're really squeezing through those glutes to get you back up into that standing position, okay? So, things that might go wrong with this movement are your knees come forward. This is like a bit of a Mr. Bean movement, okay? So let's try and avoid that one. What we want is that bum coming down backwards, and then you're going to squeeze through those glutes, drive through the heel to stand back up again. Next, we are also going to look at this chest position, because sometimes what happens is our feet are perfectly placed, our bum comes down nicely, but our chest also comes down as well. Keep that chest nice and proud. So if you're wearing a logo or a slogan, then you should make sure that you can see that if you're doing this in a mirror. So let's try this again. Keeping those knees where they are, I'm going to send the bum backwards. I'm going to make sure these knees are tracking in the same direction as my feet. I'm going to come all the way down. That chest is going to be up. Nice, loud, proud chest. Okay? Breathing out, standing all the way back up. That is your basic squat. Now there's so many different ways to add variation to this, but let's just master this basic one first. There's a couple of other things that I've seen people do that we just kind of want to tweak slightly, and that is when people come down and they arch through the back. So there's the pushing that chest forward, that bum comes out as well. Let's try and avoid that. So your ribs should be in a roughly neutral position, which means that you've got them sort of stacked over those ribs, okay? So if you can keep that front bit in that position, engage through those stomach muscles, come down and stand back up again, that is what you are aiming at. Okay, so quick reminder, feet in a position that feels right for you, roughly shoulder width or just slightly wider than hip width apart. Knees are going to be tracking in the same direction as those toes, but you're going to try and avoid them coming forwards. That bum is going to come out as though you're sitting on a chair or a toilet. Thighs are going to be roughly parallel to the ground. Chest is going to be up nice and proud. Your back and sort of upper body is going to be in a neutral position. As you come back up, you are going to drive through those heels, you're going to squeeze through your bum. You're also going to engage through that pelvic floor and draw it up. So what about for people that feel like there's a bit of heaviness through the pelvic floor, or you might experience some leaking, or you might have been diagnosed with a prolapse, you can still do squats. First of all though, if you are experiencing any of these symptoms, just go check with a women's health physio or your GP to make sure that you can do these with a little bit of modification. So modifications for these are, you can take those feet in a bit closer together, and from here, again, you can take it down nice and low if you want to. Or second modification is you don't come down so low. So you might just come down halfway, okay? And if you feel like you need some real extra support, you'll combine both of those. So you'll pull those feet in slightly and you'll only come down halfway. Any questions, just let me know, but I hope you found that useful. Now go forth and squat.